Hi there, and welcome to my discussion on weeding. I'm in my school library right now, and I am going to look in the literature and poetry section, specifically the 800 to 800 to 809. So I'm going to give you some details about that section, and then I am going to dip into the 811s just to kind of show some classics and decide whether they're worth keeping or not. So recently, just to give a bit of background information, my library has recently been renovated. So the librarians have actually been weeding as they put the books back on the shelf. However, as my mentor mentioned to me today, that she has done a once over, but she will have to go back in after. But she's kind of done an initial weeding and still has books on their crates to weed before she puts more on the shelf. So I'm going to show you now where I'm going to look, and we're going to look at a few books, and we will see how I can weed them effectively based on the Crew method. All right, so just a little background of this section. There are about 168 books in this collection, the 800s to 809s, and when I checked on the report, there have been 4 books taken out this year, checked out this year. And I mean, the library has been under renovation, so granted, that is probably a reason why there aren't many more than 4 out of 168 books taken out. But then, of course, it's the poetry section, and from what I can gather, there aren't a lot of books in the history of the report that get taken out a lot in this section. And I was also going to add that the average book in this collection, in the 800s to 809s, is 23 years old. So fairly old, given that there's probably books that are a little older. So without further ado, I'm going to look at what I have here. And I'm just going to go into the top shelf, which we're looking at the 808s. And generally, when I just look at these books, I can tell they're old books. These are dated books for sure. And I am going to pull one out and just take a look at a few things that are going to be my criteria based on the Crew manual. A few things are with poetry. There is no copyright expiration date. So books can be 23 years old, and you could keep them on the shelf. But one of their criteria is that after 3 years, if there's no circulation, the book isn't circulating, it's not moving off the shelf, it's not being checked out, it's just time to discard the book and get new ones. Also, yellowing of pages. So there might be no copyright date. However, once the book gets pretty musty, the pages get pretty yellow, it might be time to consider taking the book off the shelf, I guess, provided that it's not some kind of classic edition that is worth something. And also, if there is a series of great short stories, which I can see right here, after 5 years, this book can be discarded and it can be replaced with a new great series of short stories. So those are a few of the things. And of course, I have to remember that just because they're classics, it's not a reason to keep them after 23 years. There has to be better reasons than just them being purely classics. So let's take a look at this book, The Cat Stories, because I kind of have my eyes on it because I'm thinking this is kind of weird and outdated topic anyway, just kind of, not animals being outdated, but, just a weird kind of poetry book. But you always have to cater to every type of style of reading. So someone might be here to look for poems about cats. So when I look at this book and I open it up to check out the copyright, I can see right away that the copyright is 1987. So it's over 30 years old, this book. Right there might be some kind of cue that this book is probably outdated. If I look at the condition of the book, it's not out of condition. It's just, it's yellowing. The pages look a little yellow. And even the stamp for the school looks aged. And if I look at the authors, the poets in the book, there's some known poets, but it's not like it's a lineup of the great poets from this book. So I'm thinking that there's probably, if I did some research, I could probably find an updated edition on poetry about cats, given